Grand Rising. Thank you all for joining us on this Wednesday edition of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and as always, we've got a treat for you. A powerful sister who has learned how to turn pain into power, who's learned how to triumph over tragedy, and has shared with the world her gift as a filmmaker. You are going to meet Valerie Goodloe, a Southern California native. Valerie directed and produces Gang Girl, a mother's journey to save her daughter. Now, this film was nominated for Best Director and received Best Documentary Film at the San Diego Black Film Festival in 2011. And the documentary won the Audience Award at the Pan-African Film Festival in 2011. And she's got another powerful documentary. We're going to bring you an opportunity to see it. If you're in the Chicagoland area in just a few weeks, you're going to see Love is Not Enough. So we'll be right back with Valerie Goodloe, and don't you go anywhere. Stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be right back after this brief greeting to our audience.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Yes, this is the Female Solution, and we got another female with a solution. Welcome, Valerie Goodloe, to the Female Solution.
Welcome. Glad to be here, as usual. This is not my first rodeo with my sister, but I didn't even know really I was coming back on until yesterday.
Yes. Well, when I saw you at Push, I said, "Oh, I know she's doing something." And then when I saw the flyer, I was like, "Oh my, yeah, we got to bring this." You already have some people who are anticipating your presence. Our dear sister, who is our Monday morning mindfulness host, Zelda, she is looking forward to your appearance in. Ooh, wee! Can't wait to hear and see this documentary. Yes. So it's already highly anticipated. And so, I know that you have used your creative talents to bring a message that really touches the heart. So tell us a bit about what we're going to see in this film, Love is Not Enough. It'll be premiering, of course, we'll get a preview of it at the Rainbow Push National Headquarters, November 1st. That's a Saturday afternoon, 12 noon. So if you're in and around the Chicagoland area, you need to come on down and see this. But tell us a bit about what motivated you to do this film.
As you talked about before, I did a film called Gang Girl, A Mother's Journey to Save Her Daughter. And at that time, it was really focusing on my daughter, who was a gang member. But as all gang members, there's a lot of things that are wrapped around the gang member. There's violence, there's dysfunctionability. There are things that go on with our, with our youth that is more than just being in a gang. So what I wanted to do was a film that really showed the travel of a bullet from very beginning to end, from the time that it hit the victim, and to what can we do as a community to change those dynamics. And so I started filming this particular film in 2016, and just really, I'm still continually filming because sometimes you got to update stuff and change stuff. But initially it was to be an 8-part, initially it was going to be a film called Before Your Time, An Unprepared Journey. But then it turned into a docuseries because I had so much footage, so many interviews, so many things that showed a part of what was happening with violence. Uh, and it's not just the gun and the gangs. There's a whole lot of things that are happening in regards to the violence starting, continuing, and ultimately ending. And so we did a docuseries, it's 8-part docuseries that had 8 different chapters, and the last chapter is really called "Love Is Not Enough." That's the last episode. But because there's so many episodes, it was just hard to really find a way for everybody to see it. So we took the last episode and added some extra footage to it and turned it into a film. And anybody who sees the film that is interested in the docuseries, we have that available as well. But the film was initially an hour and 26 minutes. And then because WTTW, PBS saw it, and they wanted to air it on their station. So we had to edit it down from 86 minutes down to 55 minutes. And that was a struggle in itself, trying to find out what pieces do we cut out of this film to still make it relevant and impactful to our community. So we probably had over, I would say, 50 edits to prepare to be able to be aired on TV. And all from the language to certain scenes that they felt was maybe too raw, I guess, for the station.
Provocative.
Yeah. So what's happening is at Rainbow Push, it'll be the director's cut, which would be my cut. And even though I didn't go back to the full 86 minutes, it's an hour and 1 minute and some seconds. It still has the parts in it that's necessary to tell the story of our community. What do we need to do to change the dynamics? And really, what are some of the causes and reasons why gun and gang violence exists, particularly in the Black community? That's where my focus is.
So what are some of the reasons why this violence exists? We seem to, I mean, I know other communities have violence, other communities have shootings, other communities have dysfunction in the families. But in your observation, what is the main reason why these things erupt in the Black community?
Well, I think it's a multitude of reasons why. But the main thing I think is home is where the story begins. So what goes on in our homes, or what doesn't go on in our homes, what's available to our homes, and what's not available to our homes, is a key reason. One of the key reasons why violence is just a part, almost of like who we are. I mean. One of the young men in the film talk about the grandparents are angry, the children are angry, everybody's angry. He said, but well, look what's going on out here, And so out here for Black people, we're always at the end of the chain, always at the end of receiving the right services or the right accommodations or the right things that give us a pathway to maybe having a full generation of clarity, where the dynamics can change in the household. If you're not able to change the conditions, then the conditions ain't going to change. So one of the that's even come out of my daughter being in a gang is we developed a program called Women in Need of Discovering Own Worth, where we provide curriculum that deals with some of the things and dynamics that are in the household that could change if a path or things are initialized in the household, because it all starts at home. Whether it's learning about trauma and the different types of trauma that we have to go through, making our environment for our children non-traumatic. There's a little boy in the film whose his brother was killed while they were just out in the backyard playing basketball, and he died in his arms.
Ooh.
And because of that, the whole physicality and probably the function and ability of this little boy changed from being just a little boy in the backyard playing basketball to something else. And ultimately, he ends up murdering somebody himself and ends up in, in prison situation. But what needed to be available to him was not. And it wasn't because he didn't have a parent. It was because the things that he needed were not available to him. You can go to Parkland and all these other places where they have counselors that come into the school, and they have this program, and they have that program, they have wraparound services. Those things are not just readily available to the Black community, not in the way that they are to other communities. And so ultimately we're losing our children just because there's things that are not there. And even though we love our children, and even though we love our families and stuff like that, it is not enough to change those dynamics. We need other things to change what's going on out here, especially for, and I'm just going to say, Black people. Yes.
Well, I really can identify with some of your, stressors in going through the process of examining family dynamics. I'm currently writing a book with my sisters, growing up Charles, that was our family name. And, we're examining what was happening in the families, corporal punishment, which was, that was the way you raise your children. But, there's sometimes such severity in that it's traumatizing, it's damaging. And, parents don't know. A lot of behaviors that evolved out of slavery. And then you have the brokenness of our families, because generations have been struggling with issues. A lot of alcoholism, because that's how we coped with pain, and we didn't have counseling and all of those things. So a lot of substance abuse. And then you have that, and you have the targeting of our communities with drugs and so forth, because we're a market. When people are in pain, they're a market for drugs. And this is what we experienced. And then, as you mentioned, the violence, when a child is directly involved, it witnesses it, sees it, has friends involved in it, they're traumatized. And we were not having counselors come to school and talk to the students when their friend died or they saw a horrific act of violence. We were just expected to just shake it off and keep going.
Exactly.
And no one saw how traumatized we were. No one connected our behavior with our emotional distress. So when it happened, no one was there to pick up the pieces. No one was there to ask our children, even talk to them and say, well, how do you feel? Or any of those things. We just take it off, keep going, go to school, get up and go to school like nothing happened, and just be in pain and shut up about it. So
exactly. And what happens is when we're involved in something that may be a crime or maybe something out of the normal thing that we're supposed to do, we're seen as a group of people that have no remorse. We don't have any feelings. But it's just like anybody. If you continually see things or things happen to you over and over and over again, your body just no longer shows or displays what you really may be feeling. So as a talk about, he didn't have any remorse, he didn't show any remorse. I mean, for years, that has been built up from things that has happened in that child's life, that he's no longer going to show his inward emotions on the outside. So one of the things that during the course of doing curriculum, I have another program. It's called Recovery After Pain, and it really focuses on trauma and the different types of trauma there is. And I was able to copyright 4 different traumas that are not really talked about or discussed, or maybe even really added into the realm of what stress is. We could talk about post-traumatic stress, which is really something that was derived or formed after a soldier was at war. but there's many other kinds of stress. So one of the stresses um, that I have written down is called perpetual traumatic stress disorder. When trauma is not just from the past, it's not just associated with slavery, it's just not associated with a past act, it's continual, it's over and over and over again. So as a child tells his mama, well, I don't want to walk to school because every time I walk to school, and he may not even tell his mama that every time he walks to school, he knows he has to walk through 2 or 3 different gang areas. He has to maybe accept that. I mean, so his adrenaline, his body, his fluids, everything that he's doing as he's walking to school is trauma. And so this is every day. So that's present trauma. But when it's continuous, perpetual trauma, it's over and over and over again. And so when he gets involved in something, he said, well, Johnny, Jamal, why are you doing that? You know, I mean, you had to almost follow that path of what that youth has been going through for the past few years. There was a little boy who lived next door to us, real nice little boy. And we saw him change as he went through school in the community. And then we saw that he was getting beat up and stuff like that. And his outwardness and his ability to want to help and to show his feelings and be happy and almost like skip down the street, all that stuff ended.
Oh.
So it would look like, oh, he ain't got no feelings. He ain't got no remorse. What he has is trauma. It's perpetual. It's being embedded into him. And so when he has a child, if something doesn't deflect it or change it right then, he's going to pass that same thing on to his children. So it's kind of like inherited, as they say, or put into your DNA. I mean, the amount of fear and stuff that we may have, even if you almost notice, like Black families in regards to swimming. I mean, we didn't even want to teach our children how to swim, and it's probably because back in the slave days, our kids was drowned. We had to go across a river through alligators to get to safety. And we think about our kids being dropped in the ocean, or us being dropped in the ocean on the way from that slave trade trip over. So you wonder why Black folks don't swim. Obviously, but you know, if something has been passed down over and over and over again, then you can understand. That's why. You know, that's why he ain't swimming.
All this trauma around water, and you know, I hadn't thought about that because
you know what I'm saying. So that's past traumatic stress. That's stuff that is continually passed down, and it's not really spoken about. But it's just, oh no, you ain't getting no swimming lessons. No, you can't go near that water. And we talk about the violence and we talk about the beatings and stuff. So here we know that when our children were taken away in slave days, you know that you had to keep your kids close, otherwise they're gonna be took. So you kick your kid's ass. I'm gonna kick your kid's ass and have him fearful of even walking outside that door. So when we do things physically now, it may look like we're non-caring parents, we're out of control and all that, and we probably are now because it's been so many generations past. But the reason for that was you trying to keep your kids close. If you look at if you can go to Africa, or if you go to white places where kids just can roam free and they're doing things at 5 and 6 years old that our kids don't even do at 11.
And we're shocked. It was like, how are these children?
How they doing it? Because the parents, right? Because they haven't been passed down that fear of being able to walk outside because a serial killer is gonna get you or a bullet's gonna get you. You know, so when you don't have those things embedded into you, you don't pass them down. You don't pass down those things, and you let your kids climb up on rocks and swim in the water, because they talk about Black people don't swim, but you go to Africa. I mean, they're going down getting pearls. They're going down getting. They live in water. You know, so what we've been taught is things that are not really a part of our nature. You go to Africa, we talk about we don't drink no milk here, but you go to Africa, the African's diet is full of milk. You know, so we've been told certain things and passed down certain things that we think that are good for us or what we need to do, but it's all, it's all just misinformed stuff.
Wow.
So it's up to us to kind of like change those dynamics. So some of the things that we have in regards to our curriculum is just learning how to do things in a different way.
Wow.
instead of, and just eliminating stuff and uncovering what it is about you that makes you feel a certain way about something. So the film, the docuseries really more goes through episodes that talk about like the children's heads are always on a swivel, so they talk about what their fears are and how they feel growing up in a neighborhood where they can't even. We knew how to ride a bike by the time we was 4 or 5 years old. Children don't even know how to ride a bike or even throw a ball or do regular things because we can't go outside. So our kids' fingers is trained to a remote control, and to pick up a ball and throw it. I saw a little boy throwing a ball, and he was throwing it like a girl used to throw it back in the day.
Because he arm right.
Right, he don't know how to throw a ball because he's not being taught. He's not being taught because he can't go outside and play. Because if he goes outside and plays, then that bullet may get him. Our kids are being taught to not put your back towards the street, not to huddle in circles, all kind of things that are being passed down to have our children fearful of just having a regular life. So all that, that's a lot of stuff.
Well, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to get a little bit of some of the things that the children are saying they're affected by, things that they fear, things that are distorting their natural childhood, and some of the ways we can either make our communities more safe or dispel the fears so that they can live a normal life. So we're going to come right back, and if you missed the first part, you need to rewind and watch that after the show, because you definitely want to hear this. And make sure you're there if you're in and around the Chicagoland area, at Rainbow Push on Saturday, November 1st, to see Love Is Not Enough. We'll be right back after this quick break. We're going to greet our global family joining us from all over the world, and we appreciate you joining us from wherever you are, whenever you are, and we'll be right back. So stay with us.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Yes, we do want to talk to you, and we want you to talk to us too. And of course, if you call in 727-731-5192, we'll hear from you. Make sure you keep your phone on mute until you're ready to speak. And right now we are talking to filmmaker, documentary producer, Valerie Goodloe. And you need to find out why love is not enough. It will be shown at the Rainbow Push National Headquarters, 930 East 50th Street. That's 50th and Drexel here in Chicago, 12 noon, November 1st. And we'll get an opportunity to get some insight about the feelings our children have living in a world that is unsafe for them.
we need to make it safe. Now, one of the things that I experienced just a couple of days ago, and I was kind of shocked because I walk around the neighborhood all the time, and I was out walking, and it had gotten, and I was walking through the park, local park, and there were some children playing basketball. Actually young adults, I guess, playing basketball. And then it got to be about dusk, and suddenly I realized the streets were silent. There was nobody there, and I guess they had left the basketball court. I'm walking down the street. There was no one on the street at all, and it was like a ghost town. I felt like I was in an episode of Twilight Zone. Because when I was growing up in this neighborhood, there was always children, like you say, riding their bicycles up and down the street, walking, playing. There was no one. And I said, this is odd. There's no one here. It's like it's empty. And I thought, people, is there a curfew on the city that I didn't hear about? What's up with that? So I'm realizing, and as I think about it, even this summer, I didn't see, the way I was growing up, didn't see children on the street all the time. And we'd be out playing late, and I didn't see that at all. And I'm wondering, has it gotten to the point of fear where people at a certain hour, they go inside and they won't come out the house because they're afraid? What kinds of things are children telling you that they feel about the safety and security, or do they feel like they don't have any?
Well, all of the above. So there's one little boy, and he's in the docuseries, but well, right now he's doing really well. He's just finished college at Morehouse. He's now in Howard, getting his master's degree. But he was a child that never went outside. He never walked to the store by himself. He never went to the show without being with a parent. He couldn't answer the door without first checking in with somebody to see if it was okay to open the door. So subsequently, the things that he did or didn't do was not a normal situation. That you can't sit out on your front porch for fear of what goes. He lived right off 79th Street, so the fear of even what was happening on 79th was too close for his parents to let him have any kind of like childhood life. So one of the things that he talked about in the film was he was ready to leave Chicago. He's ready to leave Chicago. So now he's doing all kind of things. And when he comes here, he's ready to go back to where, his life somewhere else. He's saying that he'll come back to Chicago once he gets his degree and get back to his community. But he had to take a break. And there's other ones that, talk about they don't even get to ride their bike or play, with the water fountains that come from the, what do you call those things? To get water when you put out fire.
Yeah,
so he talks about that
all the time. Yeah, that was.
So he talks about not being able to do those things.
Wow.
So in order to do those things, to go outside, you had to be in a group, and most of those times those groups are gangs. So the child almost has to join a gang if he wants any sort of a normal life. But going into gang life is not normal, because the drugs and the alcohol and the behavior and all the sadness and debilitating things in the household start coming out into the streets. So you have a whole group of children out here wanting to do child things, but once they get hold to those drugs or whatever, that childhood things turns into things that have them put into prison maybe for the rest of their life. So we have to find a way, like you said, those parks. When me and my husband moved here, we see that the Chicago parks are the most beautiful parks anywhere in the country. You can't find that many parks. Man, it looked like my husband said it must be a ninja or something that comes out and cuts the grass and trims the hedges and stuff, because it is so beautiful. The scenery is so beautiful here. But there's absolutely not one person utilizing this park. I mean, in other parts of if you go to the north side, and I've been there because I have a friend who lives on the north side, those parks are packed with kids little program and children, kids running around, but our parks don't have nobody in them. I mean, our kids should be able to go to the park without a parent to go to go into the center, play basketball, do all those things, and be able to walk home safely. None of that stuff is happening. So the parent ultimately, they're working. No, John, you cannot go to you can't walk up there. So our kids are sneaking out. That's what I did when I was young, and I had things available to me. But when my parent told me to stay in the house, I found a way to sneak out, and it wasn't as dangerous. But now our kids are sneaking out, and when they sneak out of the house, just because they're supposed to be outside anyway, they're running into dangerous situations, dangerous people. And so our children just feel like there's no other alternative for them, that they don't have any alternative except for to join a gang. That way, at least they'll be able to go outside. And that's not really good.
And I'm realizing, because I get up and walk every morning, and I noticed that the parks are empty, and when I walk in the evening, I notice the parks are empty, and then I'm shocked because when I was growing up, there was always children in the parks, and you're right, they're beautiful, well maintained, shiny play apparatus with the slides and the swings, and colorful and all that, but there are no people, there are no children. And I always thought, well, maybe the neighborhood has changed where everybody's elder now. Maybe they're not children anymore. But I know that they're children because there's a school.
Right.
And so how is it that we have allowed it to become that dangerous where children can't enjoy the park that was made for enjoyment of the people? Is there a way to, I don't know, for parents to combine or have parent patrols? I mean, I don't know. What are some of the things that you suggest are possible?
Again, one of the things that I talk about in the opening of the film is the dynamics that was put into place for us, like being put into tall buildings so high up that we can't really supervise our children that are down there on the ground. By the time we get from upstairs on the 20th floor and walking because the elevator's broke and come downstairs to see what our kids are doing, they've already done whatever they were doing and maybe off to something else. So it looks like, in regards to if another group of people saw that, they would say, oh, the Black families, they don't know how to take care of their children. They don't take care of the kids. They don't know what they're doing. But we've been put into situations that don't allow us to function and take care of our children normally. I mean, we don't have normal situations that go on in our homes that allow us to take care of our children normally, even to a point of saying maybe being in a household and maybe only working part-time during the time your children are in school and you're home at the time they get home. Most Black families have to work 2 and 3 jobs. Most of now is the stress is placed on the mother, because maybe the father's not in the household, which was also designed to ensure that they continually do not allow the Black family to become one cohesive unit. I mean, it's never really been allowed. So every time we have a successful neighborhood, or say like in Oklahoma or in other places where they poison the wells, they've destroyed that community. As soon as they saw that we were doing things in a way where our children were going to school, they were happy, skipping up and down the block. We had wealth in the community that allowed us to do some of the things that other communities are allowed to do. Once they saw us getting that, it was destroyed. You look at the United States, and you give me one name of one Black supermarket that is more than one. I'm not talking about no mama. That there is none.
Supermarket.
But you could go into every other community. The Hispanic community has a mercado all over the country. It's all Superior Market. They got all these markets and stuff, and we don't even have one market. So we're crippled from the beginning. The crippling really hasn't stopped. The crippling is still going on. So some kind of way, we have to find a way to collectively find a way to heal our homes and and end the damage that's being done and that's been done to our households. I mean,
And
it's you know, in the opening, I talk about how hope has been replaced with hopelessness.
ooh,
And drugs and alcohol are now the stress relievers of what we have to do in order to even deal with anything.
wow.
You got to get drunk. Well, let me go. Let me go do this. Let me go hit that. I mean, our children are getting up in the morning smoking weed at 8 o'clock in the morning. Eight,
Oh,
9,
oh
10 o'clock.
my.
They're
That's
smoking weed all day
oh,
long. So I mean, back in the day, I mean, I used to smoke, drink, and all that. But I did it
coping
maybe
mechanism.
after I got off work. I did it on weekends if I was at the bowling alley. But when you got to get up and smoke at 8 o'clock in the morning to go to work,
Face
you had
the
to be
day.
high. I mean, that has become a part of what we do. We got to get high in order to survive. But we're not
Mm,
saying anything about, if you look at our children and autism, how autism was like 1 in every 1,100. Now it's 1 out of every 62 kids.
wow.
If you look online, you'll see that the direct result of smoking weed,
Ooh.
whether you're smoking and you're inhaling it, or even contact smoke is going inside the body while you're developing that baby, or
Mm,
you're looking at a situation where here you saw your child was normal, but they didn't inhale so much smoke. You've cut off their receptors of even retaining anything. So you got a whole
wow.
slew now of black children, especially, that are autistic. They're on the spectrum, and
Wow.
autism doesn't come from, your
Absolutely.
children are not supposed to be high at two
Mm,
years old. Contact high. If you smoking weed around your children, it's contact high. So there's a lot of things that we need to do if we want to stop things, and a lot of times people don't want to talk about it. So,
wow.
and I'm just one
Yeah.
that will talk about it, and maybe doesn't serve me well all the time to say things, but I
Wow.
just feel that if we don't say something, if we don't do something, then ain't nothing changing. So
Absolutely. Well, we've got another comment from Yo, the spiritualist, who you can hear every Tuesday evening on the Female Solution, 7 p.m. Central. She says, wow, that was the bar. Hope has been replaced with hopelessness. Yes, that's what we are struggling with. And we've got to come back to hope. We have to believe that things are going to get better and then have a plan of action. We're going to talk about that. We're going to take another quick break and come right back and talk about some of the things that can be done so that we can replace that hopelessness with hope and a sense of empowerment that we can take back our families and take back our communities. So we'll be right back after this quick break. We want you all to stick and stay. Don't stray away. You are watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. Our guest today is Valerie Goodloe, who is an extraordinary documentary filmmaker, and she has captured a real element as she brings us the message of love is not enough. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Yes, indeed. Well, we are back, and you are watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. We are hearing from the brilliant, creative, genius mind of Valerie Goodloe.
I don't know about all of that.
I know you're modest, so I had to say it for you. But this documentary is one that you don't want to miss if you're in and around the Chicagoland area, or if you're not, just drive on down because you want to be at Rainbow Push on November 1st.
Right, you could be on the south side, west side, any side, and cross over that 9094, come up that 290
right.
or whatever. You don't have to have a barrier, and that's one thing too that we've kind of like put ourselves into or kept ourselves in barriers and the segregation. And the sad thing is with the segregation, it's not just segregated from white people, we're segregated from each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things that happen on the west side that the south side won't go to. Things happen on the south side that the west side won't go to. If it's in Bronzeville, they're not crossing not Ashland, but Halstead to come over in Auburn Gresham. So we have to take away our own barriers. People gave us barriers, but why do we got to keep them? Why can't we change them barriers?
Well, that's the thing. Even like you mentioned earlier, the whole gang thing. When you gotta cross
navigate
boundaries in order to go to school. And I remember when they were, I guess they were trying to change some of the school boundaries and so forth. If you live here, you have to go there and that kind of thing. And like you were saying, children having to walk through neighborhoods where they might get beat up because they not affiliated with a gang. I remember a friend of mine telling me about how when he had to go to school and you had to know which gang sign to throw up when you tried to cross this street and everything. If you didn't get the right one, you get beat up. That's a lot of stress trying to get to school.
Yeah, for sure.
Get beat up because you don't know the right gang sign that
right
covers this territory. All of these things that are happening that our children have to live with and sometimes can't even talk to us about because they feel like we don't even understand.
Right. Another thing too, even going into the inside of your house, having to maybe play in the basement or you can't sit in the front part of your house for worry of a stray bullet. I mean, so even though you think you've adjusted to not being able to go outside, your behavior on the inside is still not normal because you still addressing those outside issues once you walk inside that house. The same, you have to maybe keep the lights off and, put a light on in the front so all they'll see is a reflection. It's funny, if you don't want nobody to see inside your house, if you don't want to see outside of your house, keep your light on. All you're going to do is see a mirror and a reflection of yourself. So if you really be safe from the outside, you got to cut your lights off so you can see outside. You can't see outside if your lights is on in the front part of the house because all you seeing is yourself.
Right.
So we have to. So we've been made to adjust whatever is going on outside, and we had to adjust our inside behavior to that.
Now I saw something when I group of us went to visit one of our hosts lived in down in Florida, and I was walking down the street, taking an evening stroll, and I noticed people had their curtains open, they had the lights on, you could see through the house. And it just how are they doing that? They don't care if people look at their house because, like you just said, we're used to adjusting. You close the curtains at night, you turn out the lights if you got your lights on in the house so people can't see in your house and all that kind of thing. So the idea of being free enough to let your lights shine in your house at night and have your curtains open and not worry about people looking in your house. I was shocked that people were that free that they could do that and not have fear of strangers being able to look inside their house. So that's a whole mindset. And it never occurred to me that we've been basically trained not to have your curtains open at night or not to have the lights on if you have the curtains open, or not to have people be able to walk past and look in your house. All of those things that we've been taught as safety features.
Right. And so here you are having to teach a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old safety. I mean the safety, yeah, from don't touch that pot on the stove, or don't stick your hand in that toilet. Regular safety is one thing, but here at 2 and 3 years old, we're training our kids how not to get shot. You know
Oh,
what I mean? How
yeah.
how
Or
how
if you hear
to
bullets, if you hear gunshots,
right. Yeah, what do you do? There used to be earthquakes where they drop something, roll or something where you
Yes. Well,
would
that's
get
a
up under the
fire.
table if there was a
If
get up
yeah,
under the
earthquake,
table.
you get under a
Yeah,
large furniture in an earthquake.
yeah.
A
So
natural
now it's a bullet. So if you hear the gunshots, drop.
wow.
And if you hear more, don't move so they think you're dead and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I
Ooh,
mean, here you putting this stuff on children, you know, adult things that even adults shouldn't really have to deal with on kids.
wow. And we've got another comment from Viana. Yes, down there in Florida says Grand Rising. Do you think the National Guard and military in Chicago is making a difference? Now
Okay,
that's an interesting question. We definitely
yeah. Now let me say this. I was a reservist, so I know that I would say this, that the Army or the National Guard is just doing their job. But
mm-hmm.
the whole thing is that there shouldn't even be a job for them to do.
Mm,
I mean, there's no reason for the National Guard and all that to be out here because it's not nothing happening to that degree. But one of the things, and this may be a little controversial,
mm-hmm.
I think that Trump is loving it. Trump is loving the idea that we're throwing rocks, we're coming out there, trying to get through barriers and stuff. And I think that if we didn't show up, if no one came out, if no one entertained him, and here you have 100 National Guard and 200 this, and there was nobody there for them to even bother with, they would look stupid. Evening news, 300 National Guard standing out here, but who are they? There's
Who are they
nobody
guarding?
here.
Who are they protecting?
Who are they protecting? There's nobody here. So
That's the
I think that
thing.
we got to quit entertaining him. He is a psychopath and he's a serial killer. So this is what serial killers do. If you fight
Mm,
the serial killer, that excites him. So all we're
mm.
doing is we're exciting his behavior. He loves it.
So
So
no one's outside. There's really no
yeah,
purpose of the.
right.
Now some people saying we don't want to let them win by having them make us stay
I,
inside. But what you're saying psychologically, if we make a decision to boycott the National
exactly.
Guard, then they have no power because we're
Right.
giving them power
Because look
by
what we did to Target. Look at what we
right.
did to Target. Target is dying, but who it also should be dying is Walmart. Because Walmart is Walmart is a trumpet, if nothing else is. So I mean, before there was a Target and a Walmart and all them, we did. I mean, even if it costs a little more, we need to leave those stores alone, and we need to not be out there. I'm a documentarian and I'm a news photographer. So my whole thing is to get out there with that camera and
Capture what's
go out
happening.
there. I mean, my physical body wants to go out and do that, but I just refuse. I am not going to entertain Trump. There's other things that I could be photographing and documenting that has to do more with us than it has to do with him and his little forces and little Christy Gnome, whoever the hell she is, walking around in her little tight jeans, acting as if she's doing something. I don't even want to entertain her. She will never see me out there, not because I'm afraid of her, but because I think that if we are going to stop this here, we do not need to entertain them. And that's just my
Absolutely,
thought.
absolutely. I agree. And we've got another comment regarding that safety on the streets. And Zelda from Higher Learning Network says, Naima, I felt the same way at our women's retreat because there were no bars on the bedroom windows where we slept. It was an eye-opening experience. Yes, it was. We were down there with Viata, who lives in Florida, and those of us in Chicago. We have been so conditioned to think it's normal that you have bars on your own windows. You're imprisoning yourself. or 50 different locks on the door, and can't open the shades or the window at night. I mean, we've been conditioned to see these things as normal. So when you go someplace where people are not living in that kind of fear, you're shocked. It's like, what? You're not barricading yourself in your house? So I think a mindset has to change. And like you say, if the news media is giving this impression of this violent city where people are out in the street throwing rocks, the mayor can't control his people, we're gonna have to send the National Guard, and we're allowing that kind of propaganda to go forth. And as a result, people, like you say, they end up feeding that by coming out and protesting the presence of people, when in fact the smartest thing would be to, just like we did with Target, to disappear, take our power back. We're not going to entertain you, and we're going to use our social media platforms to show some different kind of news. That's one of the things that we do, and that's what the whole Female Solution platform and our news channel, on air daily news, that's what our whole focus is to give people alternative news so they can see the positive things people are doing, the things people are doing to empower themselves, the things people are doing to heal their families. Because as long as we keep entertaining those who want to keep us destabilized so they can profit from it financially, then we're going to stay in this cycle. Exactly. So then we're going to take one last quick break, and then we come back and let's talk about the solution and how we heal this hurt in our families so that our children aren't living in a state of fear, and our families are understanding how to create something that is healthy, and how we can build a future. We can see and build a future where there is, in fact, a spirit of peace. We can do this, but we got to go through some steps to do it. So we're going to take one last break, and we'll be right back. So stay with us. And we are back. You're listening to, watching, and enjoying, the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. Our guest today is Valerie Goodloe, an extraordinary documentary filmmaker, award-winning filmmaker, and she's got a film that you need to make sure you are here to see. Love Is Not Enough, November 1st, 2025, at noon at the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters, 930 East 50th Street in Chicago. And you want to RSVP by calling 323-449-9373, because we want to see you there. And of course, WTTW in Chicago will air this TV special on November 7th, 2025 at 10 p.m. But we want to give you an opportunity to see it with the community. Now, is there going to be a discussion after the film or before the film to kind of, some reflections?
So after the film, the ones that were in the film will talk on their part of the film. Each one has their own take on whatever that topic was at that particular time. So each one will be able to say, talk on their piece, in what they had to say. I think it's real important that people know that even with this film, there's no narration. So I'm not coming in giving my spin on anything. I have my little opening piece, what I say, but everything that comes out of the mouth of the people here in Chicago that are affected by the gun and the gang violence, who are part of the gun and gang violence, who made changes, who turned things around, who saw what they were doing, how it affected their community, and what they felt that they needed to do in order to change it. Because I'm from Los Angeles, and we had our own set of violence and things there, and Chicago has its own set of things here, just like New York and other places has their own set of what determines the violence or the non-violence. So me not being from here, I wanted to tell the Chicago story. And so that's why everything in here comes out of the mouth of people from Chicago. You don't hear it come from anybody except for people that were born here in Chicago. And I think that that's the most important part of the docuseries and the film, that is coming straight out the mouths of who's being affected. Yeah. You know what I mean? One of the things that we do have in it is we have the police to kind of open the part that they open up. Now, I'm doing a little film on this particular district. It's the 6th district, and they're a great, and it may sound funny, but they're a great police department. They are great. They are so community. They are so into working with families and children and stuff like that. And I just love them all. I mean, when I see each one of the officers, I want to hug them. But they're from this community. They became a police officer because of they want to be able to give back in a way that nobody else can give back in their own community. So as a police department, you know, they kind of open up and say how they feel about it. And if you come through Auburn Gresham in our area, you'll see the 6th district. We had a thing over in the garden. We had the closing of the garden, and the police was there, and the community was there, and all community and police is all hugging each other because we all know each other. You know, so I think that we also have to find a way to bridge those gaps and utilize what we have that says on the car, to serve and protect. Yes. That's what it says it's supposed to do. But we have to make that happen. Ooh. We have to be the ones that's going to hold them accountable. We have to be the ones that if we're going to involve the police, we're telling them why we're involving you. Yeah. And we want service that's going to positively affect us. So if anytime you come in, I mean, what was funny, and this was just when it really first started happening over here, I'm driving down the street and the police stopped me. And I said, shit, you know, what the hell? What do they want? You know, so when I rolled down the window, they said, hey, I just stopped to say hello. How you doing? Wow. And I said, that was different. Good. I said, how are you? I said, this is different. She said, well, that's what we're trying to be. We're trying to be different. That's nice. And then I went to the grocery store and it was the same thing. So I said, well, you know, right. I've been a long time not lover of no police. You know what I mean? I mean, it wasn't in my nature to love no police officer. Mm-hmm. But they've changed the trajectory and the dynamics of how I feel about them. And really, they should be a model of the whole country, this particular department.
Well, I'm glad you told that story, because we need to know and give credit. We're credit to do. I know we've got to go. We got another. Oh, okay. We got another comment here. We want to make sure we give an opportunity to hear from Beata, which says, seems like one of the solutions is to leave Chicago. Well, we know you want. We want. Yeah, I know you want us to all come down there to Florida, but we ain't coming. We're not gonna leave. We're not gonna abandon our city. But would you say though, before we go, would you say that people are exiting the city because of this? Or do they feel like this is my home, I'm going to stay and fight it out, work it out, or whatever? What?
Everybody that I know in Chicago loves their city. They love this city. I think it's a great city. I moved from Los Angeles and I'm here in Chicago and I ain't moving. So there's things that we have to do. We can take our baggage with us. I mean, I've been in bad relationships, and every time I got into another relationship, I said, why is this relationship the same way? And I keep carrying the same baggage. You got to learn how to drop that stuff off and put something else into your suitcase. So whatever you got in your household or your suitcase or whatever, if it ain't working, let's find a way that we can change it. There's things that we can do in our own lives that can change the dynamics of the gun and the gang violence here. You know, so we just have to start doing those things. Even like cleaning up the block. The alderman says that, you know, a good block is a clean block. So what we have our people doing here, you throwing all this liquor bottle, pick that shit up and throw it, excuse my language, pick that stuff up and throw it into the trash can. Let's learn how to keep our communities clean. Because if you drive through clean communities, you don't see people rolling down the window, dropping stuff out.
It makes a difference. It makes a difference. We did that on our block, and I tell you, it's a mindset. Sometimes I go down the street and, you know, pick up trash because it changes the mindset when you have, just like you said in your house, your clean house is less likely to be feeling dysfunctional. Same thing, clean block, clean neighborhood. That's a step one. So we're going to make sure we remind people where they need to be on November 1st. You need to be at Rainbow Push Saturday.
But I want to say this. This WTTW watch is very, very important because right now it's just local. And we want this film to be able to go nationwide or at least throughout the whole Midwest. And if we don't get nobody watching that show, then they're going to say, well, you know, they didn't think it was worth it enough to watch it. So even if you come out on the Rainbow Push Day, please, 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 if you don't do nothing but turn on your TV and go to bed, go to sleep, just make sure that it's on so we can get that TV credit.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. We want to make sure we watch it on TTW. And of course, you got love being sent from Aaron Gurrell. Yes, thank you so much for sending love. We're going to be watching that on WTTW. If you can come by Push, you get a glimpse. But of course, we want the nation to be inspired by the work that you are doing. And
be inspired by Chicago. Be inspired by Chicago.
Chicago?
I mean, we got some great people in this film, and they're showing what they're doing in Chicago, how they've changed their dynamics, and they're putting back into the community things that they've taken out. And that's what we have to do. If we took something out, we got to be able to put something back in.
That's right. And this couldn't come at a better time because Chicago's gotten such a national bad rap.
Right.
So thank you, Valerie Goodloe, for giving us back our dignity and respect by showing what a wonderful city this truly is. So.
And let me say this: I didn't give it back. It was already here. You know, and I'm just someone on the outside, like forest for the trees. I'm kind of like on the outside and was able to see how great things happening in this forest. There's so many good things in the forest.
Sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees.
Right. You got to step outside a little bit. So I was able to be kind of like come from the outside and see, whoa, this is a great, great place right here.
Great city.
Yeah.
We want you all to watch it on November 7th, right?
November 7th.
Yeah. At WTTW. And make sure you tune on in at 10 p.m. to watch that TV special. And of course, we're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday the 1st as well, so you can participate in a very important community discussion because we're going to solve this problem. Yes, we are. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, we want you all to join us this evening. We are expanding our female solution hosts, are encouraging you to morning and evening get some inspiration. So Mama Africa's Marketplace, Mama Africa's House will be here on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. We want you to tune on in to the Female Solution so you can watch. She's always got fabulous guests encouraging our culture, our pride, our self-respect. So Come on back, 7 p.m. on the Female Solution, and make sure you like and subscribe us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. And until next time, continue to shine your light.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.